Hello, I'm Alex Panko, Marketing Manager for Vaisala's Life Science Applications. And welcome to another short segment on questions from customers. I have Vaisala's Senior GXP Regulatory Expert, Paul Daniel, answering your questions on annual mapping studies.
Hey
Paul,
guys.
it's great.
Oh,
Yeah, it's great to see you here, man.
it's good to see you too.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up to you, we were on the trade show floor earlier this year at Interfex, and you provided me with some insight on why isn't annual mapping alone sufficient to meet today's compliance standards?
Yeah, man. Mapping just isn't enough for total compliance. It gives you a snapshot of the performance of an environment, say your warehouse or refrigerator. It shows you that for 1 week or 3 days that area was performing correctly, but you have no idea what's going on during the rest of the year. So to be compliant with regulations on storing temperature sensitive products, pharmaceuticals, medical devices, you need to have continual monitoring to show that that area that you mapped was in compliance for the rest of the year.
Yeah, so like many of the customers ask if I map once a year, why do I need continuous monitoring? And how do you respond to this concern? What risks does mapping once a year present?
Okay, let's say you have a warehouse, right? And you map it for a week once a year. So now you know what's going on for 7 days out of the whole 365 days, right? The purpose of mapping is to get confidence that area or warehouse is capable of meeting the storage specifications. It's really important because it shows it was designed right and is being operated correctly. But you need to show that the storage specifications were met during those other 358 days of the year. That's what monitoring does for you. It provides you this proof that those required conditions were maintained. So imagine the opposite situation here. Imagine you only map once a year and you discover 1 year that your warehouse is out of tolerance and it's 5 degrees too hot everywhere. So now you have 51 weeks, right? 51 weeks that have passed since the last time you had good data. And so now you have no idea how your stored product might have been affected by that 5 degree increase. In a worst case scenario, you'd have to recall a year's worth of product. That's difficult. That's extensive. That's a freaking nightmare. Much better to monitor for the peace of mind of knowing that your environments are in compliance in between those annual mappings.
Okay. How does continuous monitoring with real-time alerts and gapless data improve compliance?
Well, if you read the regs, it says really clearly that you need to provide the correct storage environment to protect the quality of your products. So if we're dealing with an ambient warehouse, that's going to be typically 15 to 25 C, a refrigerator 2 to 8 C. And if we have 1 year of continuous monitoring data at, say, 5-minute intervals, showing consistently that your temperatures are within the required specifications, coming from a calibrated sensor on a validated system, well, man, that's some really strong proof that's going to impress any auditor. There's no way you can look at that data set and make the argument that you weren't compliant. Now, in real life, there's always problems. Systems fail, people make mistakes, we leave doors open. And so our monitoring system has alarms. The system will send an alert when temperatures go out of spec. Say that door got left open, right? And we're pretty much going to know immediately from a text alarm on our phone, and we can investigate, see the doors open and close it. With a quick identification of the problem, like this fix can happen in 10 or 15 minutes, which is usually well within whatever allowable times we have for a temperature excursion. And all these actions get recorded in our data. So now when the auditor sees that excursion, they also see that it was resolved with the fix recorded in the data showing up in the alarm report. And they know what happened rather than just being left wondering what happened here.
All right. Now, just so that everyone is aware, right? What are the key features of viewLinc and what sets it apart from those focused solely on mapping?
Okay. Now, while viewLinc is designed for monitoring, you can use it for mapping. We have plenty of customers who do that. It has all the functionality needed for a mapping tool. So for those of you who need to map, viewLinc can also be your validated mapping software. You can get two systems for the price of one. But monitoring does something different than mapping. It does more than mapping. It shows you what's going on all the time, but with less resolution than you get with mapping. If you map a refrigerator, say you've put 10 sensors in there, but we're going to monitor with only one. The two systems work together. The mapping proves that refrigerator is capable of doing its intended job. Monitoring proves that it did the job by monitoring a representative location in the refrigerator. So the key features here in a monitoring system are that continuous data collection and then surveillance of that data to create alarms and notify your staff when data is out of specification so you can take an action to protect your product. Mapping does not allow that kind of proactive product protection, right? Which helps you with compliance. It can save you time and money. How much money? But there are freezers out there that can hold $1 million of vaccine. Like if that fails, that's a lot of money and patient lives at risk. And you'll lose it if you don't have a monitoring solution in place.
Help everyone who's watching understand the practical steps that facility managers and quality teams can take to transition from annual mapping to a more robust, compliant monitoring strategy.
Okay, if you're already doing annual mapping, you are doing great. Honestly, most environments, you could map less frequently and still be compliant. Your transition path here, though, is clear. Get a monitoring system. viewLinc's a great option. And then add that continuous monitoring to your compliance solution. Your mapping data will tell you where to put the monitoring sensors because you've already got that mapping data. And then as you gather monitoring data over the year between your mapping, you'll learn more about those controlled temperature units. You'll learn more about those storage areas. And you can use that information to inform your mapping strategy and probably put together a justification to map less frequently. In this case, it'll totally pay for itself. The monitoring system allows you to justify moving to mapping less frequently, let's say every 2 years instead. So now you've cut your mapping, costs in half, and that itself will pay for the monitoring system. It's a total win-win from a compliance perspective.
Well, Paul, thank you for stopping by for this episode of Questions from Customers, and hopefully we've sparked some solutions for your mapping questions. Want to learn more or speak to an expert directly? Just click below. Thank you for joining us.